This conference will now be recorded.
All right, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Glad to have you guys here today. We will continue where we left last time. Now, last time we were talking about requirements and items that you're required to do taxes. I'm hoping everybody was able to get all these items that I asked of y'all. Now, today we're going to move to what type of taxes that we do. Now, we only focus on 1040. 1040 meaning that is the standard federal income tax for individuals. Now, even 1040 has a different sections that we'll cover. Now, W-2s are going to be the most famous one that everybody has. Now, W-2 means that you work for an employer that withheld taxes from your paycheck every week or every other week. Now, there are those who are self-employed that will get 1099 miscellaneous. Now, there's also those who are self-employed, but they are not going to get a 1099, or they work for cash. They get paid cash, so there's no paper trail. So they'll end up coming to you with nothing other than their identification. They'll tell you that I was a taxi driver, for example. I was a taxi driver. Now, I don't have any paper trail. I don't have anywhere anything that I can show to prove to you that I had an income, but I did make income X amount of money. Now, it's okay. We can file their taxes. They go under something called Schedule C. Now, there is a bunch of different 1099s. We'll go into it. Don't worry. We'll cover how many different types of 1099s there is. Now, when it comes to business tax, we do not deal with that. Uh, it gets a little bit complicated and it requires a little bit of accounting background. So I like you guys to stay away from it until you become familiar with this individual tax. Even individual tax, some individual tax are very complicated. Luckily, our audience, our demographic that we target is just people who don't make not more than 100,000 a year, that don't have a complicated deductions, credits, and all these things. So don't worry about it. We're going to be dealing with a bunch of W-2s, which is very clear, shows everything to you right then and there on their W-2s. Now that we covered type of taxes that we deal with, we are going to move forward to what kind of identification is required for a taxpayer to come with before to come with for in order for us to file their taxes. Now, you have to have a state issued driver license that is not expired. You need your social security. You also need your source of income, maybe W-2, 1099s, or any source of income from tax year that they're trying to file for. Now, for any dependent that they're trying to claim, they have to also bring you their social security, a form of something that shows a proof, like an address or something like that. So make sure they bring you a social security for all their dependents and their date of birth. It's a big issue, especially you have to have this social security because of the name, the way the social security people write it. They're very weird sometimes. You have to write it exactly how it says. Sometimes they'll tell you, hey, my name is this, but they appear to have two last names. You have to write it down. If not, the IRS e-file database is going to reject it because it doesn't recognize that number with that last name. So that's why it's very important to always have to bring your social security, and you have to go off of what it says on the social security, not the driver license, not the W-2. You always go off of what it says on this social security card for both for the tax preparer or the spouse or the dependent, all of them. You have to have a copy of it. I don't know why I said that, sorry. We'll just press next. All right, now we're gonna move to filing status. Now there are 5 different filing status. Now the first one is single. Now single meaning that you are unmarried, you are either divorced, you're legally separated, or you're a widower. Pretty much you don't have a spouse and you do not have any dependents that you're trying to claim. That's what single means. Now, the second status is married, filing jointly. Now, two couples come to you, they are married, they want to file together. It's possible, we can do that. Now, there are those who are married, but they're filing separately, meaning that they are legally still married, but their divorce or their divorce has not went through yet, or they live on a separate state, perhaps a long distance relationship that you want to call that. Now, our fourth filing status is head of household, an individual that does not have a spouse but has a child to claim, dependent to claim. Now, majority of the people you'll be dealing with are either going to be single or they're going to be head of household. Those are the two most common that you'll see. Now, our fifth status is going to be a qualifying widower or qualifying widower with a dependent child. Now, you guys know what a widower is, somebody whose spouse is deceased. They can use this filing status for the next 2 years after their spouse death. Now, this is where I want you to pay attention to, guys. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, and we're going to go on to the next one to go into a little bit into details. Now, this is where the dependent diligence that we have to worry about. Now, EIC is the credit that everybody gets for the dependents that they are using. Now, EIC means Earned Income Tax Credit. Now, this credit is determined every year by the president, depending. Now, usually they are somewhere between $3,000, $3,500 per child, but it all depends on what the current sitting president has to say. Usually, uh, they use last year's economical growth of the country is what they look at. Now, if the country had a good growth and they were able to collect enough tax, the president tends to pay a little bit more for the earned income tax credit for each dependent. Now, in order for somebody to qualify to claim a dependent, they have to meet 3 tests. Now, you can't just get a child's social security and just come and just file with that child. They have to pass these 3 tests right here. The first one is a blood test. The second one is an address. The third one is support. Now let's go by one real quick and see we can understand it better a little bit. Now, blood test means that you have to prove that this child that you're using is related to you, or legally you have proof of papers that this child that you're using is either a foster child. Now, that's it legally because there's possibility that child can be a foster child. Now, there are certain relationships that we want to go over. Now, the child could be your own child, or you can claim your parents, nephews, niece, grandparents, stepchildren, siblings, step siblings, half siblings, and foster children. Those are the only relationships that are allowed. Now, you cannot use your cousins. Just ahead of time, people will ask you that. People cannot use their cousin as their dependent. Now, the second thing is they have to prove address. meaning that the child must leave with the same address that you're using to file your tax at least half of the year. If they do not, if they did not live with you for half of the year, you cannot claim that child. Now, usually you can get approved for this by either bringing a landlord contract or either a doctor or school, because the school usually register for the children. They have your address as a address of contact. Now, the third thing is support. Support meaning that half of the years the child upkeeping, you have to provide that. You must have paid for the child's upkeeping for the past year, at least half of the past year. Now, dependents must be 16 years or younger. Now, for dependents that are older than 16, they have to be students or disabled. Now, these two, you still have to provide documentations. Now, we did say that you cannot claim your cousins. Now, give me 1 minute. Let me check with you guys. Can everybody hear me? Sorry, guys. Can everybody hear me?
Adan maqlaysaa?
Okay. Didn't I hear you?
Okay.
All right. Abdel Nasser can hear me. Harid can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Now,
Question, Abdullahi, question.
go ahead.
In Adam, quick question, but sorry. About the last section, the persons older than 16, if they are like 19 or 18, but they have to be a student to get qualified to be a claim, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's a child that they want to use, if a taxpayer comes to you and they have a child that they want to use that is older than 16,
Must be student.
now
Okay.
they must be a student or disabled. Now, there was a relationship here that I wanted to go over. Parents. Now, if you're going to use your parent as a dependent, they have to be disabled and you have to have a proof from the doctor.
Mm.
Now, is everybody else with me so far? Anybody any question before we move forward? Because this is the most important. This is where you're going to deal with a lot of headache. If you don't understand anything here, I need you to tell me. I'm going to go over it. I can explain it to you a little bit better in a better terms. Abdel Nasser,
Adam,
yeah, are you good so far on this section, the dependent part?
yes, yes, bro, I'm following. Yeah.
Perfect. I just didn't want to lose anybody. I feel like I'm going a little bit too fast. If I am, let me know.
Okay, I will let you know, inshallah.
Now, I will leave everybody. I will not mute you guys, but try to self-mute yourself. When you have a question, unmute yourself, okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, let's move on to the next section, which is, I think, types of income. I think we need to focus a little bit more on the 1099, the 1099s part of income on this section, because we already talked about what W-2 was, and we talked about what Schedule C was. Now, there are a lot of different type of 1099s, and the first one is 1099 miscellaneous. 1099 miscellaneous is a self-employment for self-employment or contractor, subcontractor. Now, there 1099R is for retirement saving earning. Now, if you put money into your retirement account, perhaps a saving account like a bank account, and you earn interest the bank will send you whatever the interest that was that they paid you for your saving account. Also, the same thing as 1099, 1099 interest is the same thing as this one, but it depends on which one they want to use. Now, 1099 dividend is for any investment that you made into a stock and you are able to get some money for your investment. They'll give you a 1099 dividend. Now, 1099G is for any government benefit except except Social Security benefit. Now, Social Security benefit has its own 1099 form, which is a 1099 SSA. Talked about what Schedule C was. Does anybody has a question about what a Schedule C is? Somebody coming to you without no proof of income, like a taxi driver, how to do their taxes. Do you have any question? This is just a general knowledge, by the way. This is not practice. We're gonna go into the software as soon as we're done, inshallah. As soon as we're done with the general knowledge understanding, we will go into the software. I will show you exactly how to put everything in there. Now, does anybody have a question about Schedule C? Somebody coming to you with nothing. All right, we'll move on if nobody has a question. All right, next we are going to talk about adjustments. What are adjustments? Now, adjustments are anything that you use to reduce your income, to arrive at your adjusted gross income. Now, let's say that last year you made $100,000. Now, that was your gross income. Now, but you had some expenses that you paid out of your pocket to arrive at this gross income. Now, you deduct all of that expenses out of your gross income, and then you will arrive at your AGI, meaning that your adjusted gross income. Now, there is, you know what, this should have been first. We need to talk about standard deduction. Now, standard deductions ensures that all taxpayers have at least some income that's not subject to federal income tax. Now, this year, people are in for a big surprise. It went from $6,200 to almost $12,000, double, meaning that if you had an income over $12,000, you know what? I think I read that incorrectly because that's actually a good thing for people because back then you were subjected to be taxed at as soon as you make a $6,200, you were subjected to be taxed. Now this year, if you make 12,000 some change, I can't remember. We'll go over all the changes later on, but you will be subjected to be taxed at $12,000. Now the person can automatically opt in to go for standard deduction. Now, if you want to itemize your deductions, your expenses, list them one by one, you could. These are the type of taxes, the type of deductions W-2s can make. Now, this two right here, don't get me wrong, is only for W-2s. Okay. Now, 1099 Schedule Cs, they have a list of 150 something deductions that they can make. Now, it sucks to be a W-2 recipient because you only have two sections that you can deduct. You are not allowed to deduct anything else. The first thing you can deduct is any mortgage interest that you paid, any property, state, or local taxes that you paid. Like you live in a house, you pay property tax on it. You can use that to reduce your income. Now, any medical expenses that you had that year, I think all the premiums that you paid that year, you can use it as an expenses. Now, any charity that you have contributed to a local masajid. And now this miscellaneous, you have to be very careful there. I think it's more of a medical miles, few different things that it goes into, but I will go into these later on. Once we go into the software, we'll look at what are the miscellaneous deductions that you can make. I did mention that these deductions were for W-2 recipients. All right, let's talk about Obamacare. Now, Obamacare is not the official name, by the way. It's Affordable Health Care Act. It goes by different names. You can either call it healthcare.gov, ACA, Obamacare, but they all mean the same thing. Now, it's very important that you understand how the Obamacare actually works. There's a lot of people are in for a surprise, especially if you're a part of the people that got their Obamacare from our local brothers. I don't want to go into details, but let's leave it right then and there. Now, Obamacare recipients, anybody who had Obamacare will have to bring you a 1095-A. Now, somebody will come to you and they'll tell you that they didn't have Obamacare, but they did have Obamacare for like 1 month. But to them, that 1 month doesn't count the fact that they didn't use their insurance. They see what will happen is that you will go ahead and submit it, and then they'll get a letter in the mail saying that, hey, what happened? Where's your 1095? Why did you not file with your taxes? Then they're gonna come back and they go bring it to you, and then you'll have to make an amendment. So it's your responsibility to make sure you explain to these people, listen, man, it doesn't matter whether you had it for 1 day or the whole year. As long as you had Obamacare for 1 day, we need that 1095-A. Now, if they did not receive it in the mail, they can always call the healthcare.gov. They will. Do I have the phone number here for them to call? I didn't include that. Sorry, guys. But it's healthcare.gov. You'll just go there. The phone number is right there. They have to call. They have to give their social security, their full name, and they'll be mailed their 1095-A. Now, once they get that, they can always bring it to you. You can do their taxes. You don't want to be doing this job twice. You want to get rid of these tax clients one time. You don't want them to keep coming back to you because they can give you a bad reputation. They can start talking about all these unnecessary things to other people who could have been a potential client. You always explain to them, I need your 1099, I need your 1095-A. Now, once they bring you the 1095 air, it's going to have a lot of information in it. Bear with me. Let me show you how a 1095-A looks like. All right, this is how a 1095-A looks like. Yeah, that's blurry. Sorry. Now, a 1095-A is going to have a marketplace identifier. It's going to, sorry, I'm not familiar with this GoToMeeting platform, but it's going to have a bunch of information. You're going to take all that information, you're going to input it into the software. Again, we're going to go through the whole practical thing, inshallah, but I just want you to understand the general knowledge behind it. Now, it's going to have everything that you need. Now, it's also going to have a list of all the people that were in that particular plan that the government paid for, and it's going to show exactly how much they paid, how much the government paid every single month. It will show you the total. It will show you the total right at the bottom. It will show it to you right at the bottom. Let's go back. All right. Now, according to the government, you are required by law to have some form of insurance. Now, some form of insurance, either you can purchase it through the healthcare.gov, or you can have a state sponsor, or your employer can give you or purchase you a health insurance, or you can buy it yourself. either ways, but you are required by law to have a health insurance coverage for the year. Now, every every other insurance other than the health, any other insurance that you purchased outside of the healthcare.gov, you just answer the question. Did you had a when they ask you, did you had a Obamacare? Did you had a health insurance for the prior year? You just say yes. But if they did have a health insurance through the healthcare.gov, they have to bring you that 1095. Now, the reason why they have to bring you these 1095 is the government wants to see if they made overpayment on your premium. Okay, let's go backtrack now. In December every year, people sign up for this Obamacare for the upcoming year. Now, the way the premium that they're gonna pay is determined is a is an estimate of what they say their next year income is going to be. Let's say that I said my income is going to be $20,000 for the year 29 when I was signing up in December. So something good happened. I ended up making $50,000, but the government was making a premium at the assumption that I was going to make $20,000. Now, 2019 is finished. 2020 is the year. Now I have to file my 2019. They'll send me my 1095. I took my W-2 in there. It's plugged into the system. Voila! It shows that my income is actually bigger than what we estimated at the beginning of the 2019. So now the government is going to tell you, listen, man, we overpaid the premium. We need you to pay us back. Is that clear, guys? Why is it clear why we need this 1095A so bad? Is everybody with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I making sense? I feel like I'm just mumbling here. Do you guys understand what I'm getting at?
Uh-huh.
All right. Abdinazir, are you with me on this Obamacare situation?
Obamacare. Yeah, I think I am. I will. I think I need some details on this one because I've never done this before. But I will talk to you later. Bro. I just yeah. For
Don't
so far, so
worry,
good.
don't worry. It will become very clear later on once we go into the software and we actually do have some practice that we're gonna do together, okay?
Okay, inshallah. Yeah.
Inshallah.
But it's very important that why we have to have a 1095A is to
Yeah.
adjust the premium that the government made for you for the prior year. Some people are making zero. The government is paying for like almost $300 every month for an insurance.
Uh-huh.
Assumption that they're gonna make $15,000 for the whole year. But when the year ends, they
Uh-huh.
made $60,000. Now, did the government made overpayment on the premium? Yes, they did. Now they need their money back. How do they get their money back? More taxes onto your tax that is due, or either take away your refund.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Let's see. Do we talk about it? Now let's move on to what are tax credits. Now, a tax credit is not a deduction. Tax credit is okay. Tax credits are more of a child tax credit, education credit, farmer's credit. If you're a farmer, you get a credit. Child daycare credit. There's a lot of different credits now. What that means is, if you went to school, the maximum that they were paying last year was like I think $1,200. Now each child that you use as a dependent, you get $3,500. Now that's if you're at the sweet spot. The sweet spot meaning that you're at the right place. I think the sweet spot is somewhere around $18,000. If your income was $18,000, you will get $3,500, the maximum. Now, if your income goes up, your your credit goes lower. Now, also the same thing for education. Just because you went to school doesn't mean that you're entitled to the whole $1,200. Now, it depends on your expenses, whatever you paid for tuition, for books, and all of that. Now, also child care tax credit. Now, if you made a maximum amount of 30, bear with me real quick. If you made a maximum of $3,000, you are given 35% back. Now, if you made $5,000, you'll still fall under the 3,000 because that's the maximum allowed because they're using a percentage to give you a credit. Now, is this part clear?
Yes, that's clear.
All right, perfect. Now, anybody that went to school, they'll have to bring you. You know what? It's not just everybody. If anybody that wants to claim any type of credit, they have to bring you a proof. Now, childcare, they have to bring you a receipt that has whoever provided the service, the daycare or the babysitting. If it's an institution, you need their EI number, their address, and how much that they actually paid. Now, if it was individual who has done the babysitting, like a mother or like an auntie or a neighbor, but you ended up paying them to take care of your child while you were going to work, you need their full name and their social security number. Now, individuals, you need their social security and their full name. But if it's an institution like daycare centers, you need the EI number, their address, and how much they charge you with the receipts and everything. Now, in order for somebody to claim education credit, they will have to bring you a form that looks like this, which is called 1098T. Usually, people just ignore the 10, they just say 98T. Now, this is a form that you receive from your school. They will write down exactly their institution's address information, their name, their EI number. EI number or federal identification number is the same thing, by the way, guys. EI number, employee identification number, or federal identification number are always the same thing. Now, it needs to have their full name, their address, their EI number, whoever the client is, the taxpayer, their address and everything, and they also have to write down exactly how much that student spent for tuition. Now, tuition is the only thing that the institution is going to write down. Now, books, laptops, and all those other things is not going to be included in this thing, but we can add it as long as they bring you receipts. Now, I do believe everybody is up to understanding on this part, right?
Ha.
All right, perfect. AK, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah.
You understand this part, right? The 98
Yeah.
for
Yes.
students.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, for the student. Yeah.
Yeah, Hadid, I don't even have to ask you. I just want to make sure you're with us. Are you with us, Hadid?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Bear with me. I'm trying to figure out if we need to stop here. Yeah, we will stop here and we'll continue from here. Prepares due diligence. This is something that I want you guys to understand in the future, inshallah, and it requires a fresh mind. We're going to talk about next session. Bear with me a second. We're going to figure out when we need to meet up. By the way, we will start filing on the 28th. The date is set. I do not have the software yet because it has not been released. Drake software has not been released yet. So hang tight. We're probably going to end up doing practice on. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right. We are going to do a practice test on Drake 2017. Now, everybody, don't feel too terrible. We will utilize Team Viewer. You can be Irving, you can be in Dallas, you can be in Faribault, you can be in Seattle. It doesn't really matter. I utilize a software called Team Viewer.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much what you're gonna do is you're gonna download this Team Viewer. It's free. It doesn't cost a penny. As soon as you download it, and you need some help, what you'll do is you'll call me. You'll give me your ID number and your password. Now I will connect with you from here on. What this software does is it gives me a total control of your computer. I get to go into your computer, do things, show you things. Now, anytime that you really, you know what, I'm not connected to anything. But if I was, if somebody was connected to my computer, I will have a button here that says kick out that person, pretty much.
Mm.
You guys have seen this, right? Harid?
Yeah, I
Yeah, yeah. All the time, you can kick me out if you don't feel like you know you're not comfortable with. This is just for those who are privacy. They want their privacy and they feel like you know what. Get out of here. Just for your own sake, I just wanted to let you know that it doesn't give me a total control of your computer forever. It only
yeah
gives me control for the period
Yeah,
that you allow me.
yeah, I
yeah.
know
So
that. Yeah, I know. I have that on my computer. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Now, let's figure out when is going to be our next time we'll meet up. Uh, is the 13? I know the Cowboys are playing on Saturday. Nobody wants to do any trading. Trust me. Let's meet up on Sunday, inshallah, around I think 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock on Sunday, inshallah. On the 13th, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, inshallah. We'll continue talking about repairs due diligence. We'll talk about bank products and how we get paid. We'll talk about state income taxes. We'll talk about fraud preventions and data securement. And we will talk about marketing, how we're going to market ourselves, how we're going to draw in a new clients and all that good stuff. Now, if nobody has any question, or do anybody has a question before I ask you? Nobody has a question.
The app I can download on my phone too, Adam, or only the computer?
The app for the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Are you using your computer right now? I thought you were using your
No,
cell
no,
phone.
no, no, not this one. I'm talking about the. Inshallah, next time we have the view team view thing, the one you control on the computer.
Oh, the team viewer. There's no point for me to control your phone because your phone we can't use your phone to do taxes.
yeah.
Oh no. Oh,
Yes.
okay. No, no. On the computer, I have it. Yeah, I have both computer. I think the Apple and the other one. I still have those ones. Yeah. The
Yeah,
team
we
view, I
can't
still have that.
remember we can't use Apple, guys. We can only
Yeah, yeah,
use
yeah. I know.
Microsoft
Yeah, yeah,
Word window. The software
yeah. I
doesn't
think
the tax software does not support any product anything other
Apple.
than Windows.
Oh, so my computer is Apple, so it's not
Yeah,
compatible.
man.
Okay.
Hey man, I try to tell people Apple is a vanity product. Okay, it's not for
Oh,
real
but
world product.
I do have the parallel software though, so I can use access to Windows through my
You could.
app. Yeah.
I have no idea how that works, brother, but we're gonna try it. But just plan on getting another laptop for like $200, $300 if you have to.
Okay.
Uh, any
I,
other
st- I
questions?
still I still have the all in
Uh,
laptop
Okay,
last
yeah,
year, so I used that one, I
I got
guess.
you. No worries. Now, AK, we're gonna have to renew your PTI. Abdel Nasser, have you tried to do your PTI yet?
I will do it tomorrow, inshallah.
All right. Do I need to send you a link for that video how to do it?
Yes, please. Yeah, that would be very helpful.
All right, Harid, you got it done. Me and you did it over the phone together. Now, Abdikarim, I will call you maybe today or tomorrow.
Okay.
Your situation was a little bit special, so we'll figure it out, inshallah. Now,
Inshallah.
any more questions before we end this?
No, thanks.
All right, perfect. Thank you for attending, guys.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, man.